Before you say this video is pure cope and that I look ridiculous, I want to address that first. A little bit to both. The thing is, I can admit that, but I do not want to end up like one of those people who live out too hard for both good and bad reasons and then get used as a reaction image for the next 10 years or more. Kinda like this guy. So I'm gonna try to approach this video with a better strategy than the Harris Walls campaign. Hi again, guys, and I don't know if you heard, but there was an erection earlier this week. There's also an erection right now just below the camera frame. Donald Trump won. Sorry to those who were on a no electronics detox for the last week, and this jump scare is how you found out. I don't really make it a secret who I was voting for on any of my social medias. Feel however you want about that or what I say in this video. It's currently still a free country, so I'm just gonna talk my talk. For one, I don't really think we're looking at voter fraud or stolen ballots like a lot of people have been saying on Twitter. I said this on Twitter as well. That's the easy way out, and it kinda lets Democrats think, we weren't Republican enough. And elections are infinitely more complicated than that, and if that's where you let things rest, where you're really running anyway. And either way, the work doesn't end here. It wasn't going to be over even if Kamala won. The whole point of her being in there was that she was someone that had a modicum of a chance of being pushed into the values and policies I hold, but I reckon even some of my viewers who agree with who I would have wanted elected aren't exactly sure what that even means. People watch the election in all sorts of settings, with friends at home, at a bar, work, in Roblox watch parties, which honestly sounds really fun, especially if everybody in the lobby gambled on this election. Fun fact, this is the first time that it's ever been legal to do that, at least in an official sense. But on the election night, I decided to play pretend at a Fox News political commentator, and I streamed it live with over 1,000 people watching for 6 hours straight. And it was a first-time election for a lot of y'all. Emotions are certainly high right now, shit feels uncertain, but the main takeaway I got from that stream was you still gotta be in those trenches. Beyond the aesthetics of politics is at its core a process. It's coalition building and the Sisyphean task that is getting anything passed in Congress. And if Kamala was president, you'd still have to do the same shit that you gotta do now. It's gonna be like that for the rest of your life. You gotta say, fuck it, we ball, because the alternative is to give up, which is not an option at all. I wanted to say something like this during the stream, but I didn't have quite the words for it. But understandably, a lot of people became worried and anxious for what the future of the United States is gonna look like. But that's kind of what some people out there want of y'all, as evidenced by the reaction images mentioned at the start. Some folk out there want nothing more than to see you freeze in a fear response, instead of getting the fuck back up. It is kind of bait. People saying your body, my choice forever on Twitter and apparently in elementary schools. I personally take that to mean that anybody who says that, your body is my choice, and now you want to cut off your balls so bad. The thing to remember is for a lot of people, elections are just basically sports. If you're a Democrat, I don't care. If you're a Republican, I don't care. If you're a Chiefs fan, fuck you. Where some people view it as their guy winning is the last stop on the train. We won, so it's over. My guy's in the office. For me, that doesn't really work because I didn't even really like my guy. If Kamala won, it would be a positive feeling with an asterisk attached, because I'm aware she'd qualify as a war criminal within the first week. And to all of those who feel addressed by that earlier description, this guy said it best, I'm gonna be pocket watching everybody that voted for Trump because of the economy. You better not be broke still in 4 years, because I'm on that ass, bitch. To everybody else, take the time you need to process, but dust off your shoulders because we got work to do. We always will, and an important part of staying motivated is taking some of the small joys in the spots where we can. And despite everything in the last few days since the election, there have been some gems. For instance, celebrity baby hippo Moo Dang predicts Trump will win the election by eating a cake with his name on it. And fuck that little hippo too! Put that motherfucker on the grill and feed it to the mom. I don't give a fuck! I have been saying this for ages. Moo Dang is cute, I guess, but he was always a ploy to snuff out the justice for Xiaoping that he never got. Y'all remember that dog whose owner was always saying that he was allowed to do stuff, and then when Xiaoping went to do the thing he got permission for, the guy would just snitch on him to his mom immediately? Yeah, ever since Moo Dang showed up, we have not heard from him in a while. And in the time since we last heard from him, I can only imagine things have gotten worse. Watching Home Alone 2 today to relax, I can't believe this fucking country. You're fucking joking! This is what I'm talking about, man. The voter base of this country is so uninformed. This was literally a lyric in the Kamala versus Trump epic rap battle. It's essential viewing for anybody who is planning to vote in this country. Those battles are a decade-long, time-honored tradition that you have to watch the candidates talk shit over a beat at each other and learn the majority of their policy platform from that song. I gotta say though, I'm not a big fan of people making predictions as soon as an election cycle ends, because I believe in coincidence. In that, I think coincidence is a dude who thinks it's funny to make shit people said in the past a reality. All for the sake of a bit. Fuck you, coincidence. 4 years ago, someone said, what if Trump loses and then runs against Kamala Harris in 4 years and wins? John's follow-up 4 years later was, does anybody have any cool pictures of Shadow the Hedgehog? Keep Shadow in mind because he will become important later. Also, this card at the end will take you to the last video where I info dumped about him. But for now, the main prediction I've been seeing in recent days has been this. There mostly based on some comments Trump has made saying, "Go vote, you'll never have to vote again." Some people took this as him saying there wouldn't be another election if he got elected. He purports that it was him urging a specific demographic of Christian voters, who he says don't really vote that much, to go and vote. Christians not being a strong voting bloc is a take for sure, but as a result, people have been saying shit like, Obama when Trump removes the 22nd Amendment term limits and runs it back in 2028. I feel like the more that people see this bit, the less fun it is for that loser coincidence to make it come true. He prefers a guy on Twitter who made a really niche and specific off-the-cuff prediction to dig it up 4 years later when it's relevant. Still, discussions of prime Obama have come up a lot. Obama won those elections so fast, folks could hit the club and celebrate. And people in the replies were saying, never will we see anything like prime Obama again. Which, admittedly, that was a crazy electoral map. All these states being blue, North Carolina being Democrat, Florida being a swing state at all. Insane stuff back then. And when this came up on my stream, this inevitably led to talk of power-scaling politicians in their prime. I think the gnarliest performance in history is probably Ronald Reagan's 1984 electoral map. Look at this fucking thing, dude. This is a monstrosity. Playboy Cardi album, whole lot of red. The only reason his opponent Walter Mondale won Minnesota was because he was literally from Minnesota. I don't think there has ever been a blowout of this size, and with how the whole thing is set up now, it might be impossible for this to ever happen again. Which brings us to the fun part, making dream matchups. In their prime, how would certain titans fare? Like, the proposal was 2028 Donald Trump, but like it or not, age catches up to everybody. Biden was way more coherent in 2020 by today's standards of him, and he was a demon on the debate stage in 2012.
Cut tax rates by 20% and still preserve these important preferences for middle-class taxpayers.
It has never been done before.
It's been done a couple of times, actually.
It has never been
Jack
done
Kennedy
before.
lowered tax rates, increased growth. Ronald Reagan.
Now you're Jack Kennedy.
Ronald Reagan.
Now he's a husk who shouldn't have even tried to run this cycle, but the same goes for Trump. He's 78, and he's not as sharp as he used to be. Like, the work that man pulled off in 2016 was insane. So I want to pair off prime 2008 Obama against prime 2016 Trump. In both of these races, they were able to overcome that shared threat of Hillary Clinton. It was at different stages of the election, to be sure, but we can at least say power level-wise they share that feat. Obama came in with a landslide victory during his true presidential run, and Trump beat all the expectations of everyone, including himself, where they thought he was going to lose the election. Rhetorically, though, they couldn't be more different. I'd say at these times in their careers, they were comparably competent at how they spoke. You just have to imagine this like a Dragon Ball Z fight instead of a battle over policy and personality that widely depends on the cultural and historical context of the time. Speaking of shit that makes me question if the reality I live in is even remotely real, I can't believe this is a real clip.
People, real quick, I want to thank the Nelk Boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, Bussin' with the Boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan.
Aiden Ross got a shout out at a presidential acceptance speech before Shadow the Hedgehog. The values of this country are completely backwards. People had a throwback to a tweet the official Sonic account put out on the day after election 2016. That was the last time Trump won, saying, "No matter how scary the world becomes, all you need is one ring. Don't ever give up." They then retweeted that after election day this year. And this is something objectively inspirational, but let's not lie to ourselves. It has a political slant. It's not explicitly stated, but you can kind of read between the lines. And when people were reminded of this 8 years later, certain people had some thoughts. Autistic Breeder says, "This is not it, dog." Buddy, you're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. You're a fake fan, bro. Instead of expounding on that, I'd like to reuse a clip from my last video. That Shadow the Hedgehog info dump which shit the bed view-wise, but I adored making. We're in the game, he says some absolute scripture that I need y'all to hear.
If the world chooses to become my enemy, I will fight like I always have.
Listen, it was in the last video, and Shadow the Hedgehog won this election via AU fanfiction anyways. Speaking of, if you're looking for an outlet to cope in between engaging with reality, write some AO3 AU fanfic on whatever outcome you wanted for the election. This is what I meant by the work continues, by the way. Speaking of the work, the whole world had their eyes on this election. Every Australian I knew said they were shocked by the amount of stuff their coworkers had to say about it, and this magazine cover was rolled out recently. Election special. Trump wins, the world loses. The end. And look at this fucking image, dude. Maybe you think it's dramatic, maybe you think it's sad, but to me it just goes hard as shit. Give it a year and I'm predicting a 40% chance of this being a West Side Gun album cover. Also, I'm not immune to a Ligma type joke setup 6 years on, and Donald Trump winning comes with a perfect setup for certain people. I've always wanted to do this. Donald Trump is not my president, but he is. Cry harder. I'm Indian. That Shigaraki profile picture is probably how this dude felt when he saw someone basically step knee deep into that bear trap they set. Now, I understand making tweets frustrated about Trump winning, but some gold got dug up from the mines of history of people being upset with him being the president for some very unique reasons. I am literally losing my fucking mind. Trump was the reason why OKKO, Unikitty, Clarence, and many other cancellations. Holy fuck. Oh, dude, this guy's unbelievable. Apparently that's real too. The creator of cartoon OKKO said themselves that Trump directly had a hand in that show's ending. Apparently he was against the merger of AT&T and Warner Bros. Because they own CNN, which he doesn't like very much. And it's hilarious, especially when the replies to the screenshot have another really good out-of-context tweet from the same dude. I almost went downstairs, but only to come back up after I heard my dad's request of having my mom's feet rubbing his dick. That could very well be bait, but if it's not, you really didn't have to share that. Like, that was a choice you made that you did not have to. AP reports that Joe Biden has called Trump to congratulate him on his win, inviting him in the White House for a transition meeting. Transition meeting. He said, we're gonna get our first woman president one way or another. Hey man, they're just extending that Trump administration policy of giving free transitions to convicted felons. I really respect that guy is willing to live by his own policies, even going so far as to partake in what he offers to others. Y'all remember Tobuscus? I kinda wonder what he's up to these days. Checking in on the guy who made the song about the diamond sword from Minecraft in 2012. Your mom literally sent me this. The electoral map if only silly gay people voted. Except it wasn't those words. I like money though, so I'm not saying them here. I burst out laughing when I saw that for the first time. Toby means it as a slur and insult, but unfortunately for him, while I won't say it here, me and my friends say it to each other all the time. So I have been inoculated into finding it funny instead of a scathing insult. My upset 22-year-old coworker. Is this how it felt in 2016? Me. Oh, how interesting. Mrs. Never watches the Family Guy clips I send is looking for comfort. This is objectively a thing you can be mad at someone over for good reason. Listen, I'm fine if my friends don't watch every single meme I send them. But if it's a Family Guy clip I'm sending you, that shit means something to me, man. I made myself vulnerable to you only to be ignored. So you work your way through that backlog and give your thoughts on each clip individually, or don't expect me to be there for you when you weren't for me in my time of need. That's all I got. I hope this video is able to be some level of reprieve from the emotional blowback of the election. I'm sure before reaching the end of the video, several of you are going to make fun of me for how stupid I look. Give me your best in the comments. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like and subscribe with notifications on. Anyways, this has been Kwite, and I'll see y'all next time.